Padres Hot Tub is proudly presented by Estate Leak Detection and Plumbing and our man Wally. If you are in San Diego, we ask this one simple thing of you. Take this number. You can see it now. 619-300-7203. 619-300-7203. Save it in your phone. Create a new contact. Write on it Estate Leak Detection and Plumbing or Wally-Plumber or Fun Guy Wally. Listen, I'm not you. I'm not inside your context. I don't know what your particular system is, but however you do it, 619-300-7203, because then one of these days, that moment will come. A drip from the roof, a leak in the basement, an issue in your bathroom, a water heater.
It's going to be your toilet. It's going to be poop.
Oh, damn it. I was really trying to avoid that. But now that you said it, now it's going to be poop. And you want Wally to come and take care of that thing.
Yeah. So what you put in is ICPE. That's not Insane Clown Posse excellence. That's in case of plumbing emergency, estate plumbing. You put in the phone number. One of these days, you guys aren't going to hear me talk about Wally and our growing up together on the fishing boats at all. You're just going to hear our neighbor Ty talking about how when he came home from a 5-day trip, his unit had flooded and he had to call a plumber, but the plumber that came sucked, thought jackhammering into the floor was a good idea. So Ty didn't have a place to live for 2.5 months because he didn't have a reliable plumber to call. It led to absolute catastrophe and expensive problems. Wally can save you all that.
One time I saw in my wife's phone that I was listed as like husband ice. I see, and I didn't know. I was like, ice? Is that like Maddie Ice? Or is that reflective of her feelings toward me at this time?
She tried to get you deported once, Craig.
But if I had seen the P in there, I would have understood. In case of poop emergency. That's what you meant, right? In case of poop emergency.
No, plumbing.
Oh, yeah. Call Wally. 619-300-7203. Padres Hot Tub, everybody. Greg Elsten. There's Raphie Cantor. There's Chris Reed. We are all here together. It is Monday, September 11th, 2023. The Padres are beyond irrelevant. They are officially eliminated from National League West contention. 21 solid back of the LA Dodgers as they open up a 3-game set at Chavez Ravine. We've got a lot to talk about on the show. First, I just say hello, good day, good evening, or good morning, as the case may be as you're watching this back, to Raphie and Chris. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good day. I am splendid, sir.
I, too, am splendid, and I am excited to... I'm not necessarily excited to talk about the Padres, but I am excited to talk to both of you guys. So what a great way to spend a Monday afternoon.
Outstanding. All right, let me start off with some quick housekeeping at the top of the show. There was a new Pods Above replacement that dropped on Sunday afternoon with Raphie and John Percoda titled How to Run Out of Pitching. Episode 23 of Pods Above Replacement is available on YouTube. It is also available, of course, in our podcast feed, both our Patreon feed and our regular feed. So check it out. Please do so. Our YouTube channel continues to hum. Friday, we did our first ever live Padres Hot Tub group therapy on YouTube. Patrons with the chance exclusively to interact with the show, to call into the show, or to offer questions for the show, but we did it live on YouTube. Are we doing that again this week, guys, in our September call-up mode?
I'm down.
I think so. I'm going to shave by then, though.
Okay.
Just so you guys aren't confused. It'll still be me. It won't be a different person.
That's Riss Creed that's shown up in our live stream.
So check that out and stay tuned. We'll have an announcement. Probably it'll be Friday again, but we'll see, Thursday or Friday, we'll do another live Padres Hot Tub group therapy. So continue to support, please, the YouTube channel. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, please click like on this video. Please hit subscribe. We're approaching that 1,000 subscriber elusive mark that we've been chasing all season. If we can get it by the end of the season, I think that would be incredibly, incredibly awesome. The best way to directly support this show is on Patreon. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub is the way to get there. patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Please help support this show. You can do so for as little as $5 a month. The three of us put in a lot of work on this show over the course of the month, and we appreciate every single person who supports this program. You help keep it on the air, quite literally. You help for all three of us in weird career spots, get us through the summer and through the fall. So thank you to everyone who does, and for everyone who's thought about it, or for some of the folks who like rage quit when the club lost to the Brewers and got swept. Consider still supporting your Padres friends who are here posting up even in the abject misery of the season that is. And to wit, as the season wraps up, we're actually delivering a survey to all of our patrons to ask them about their 2023 experience as a Padres Hot Tub patron, to figure out what is meaningful, what they gain value from, what they like, to get some feedback in terms of what they would like to see more of or less of. So, Raphie, where can people find that?
So what's going to happen is that when I post this episode, I'm also going to post on the Discord with a link to the survey. I'm also going to send an email blast on Patreon as well. So apologies if you're on the Discord, you'll probably get 2 notifications about it, but we really do want to hear from you guys. It's an anonymous survey. The only thing that we do ask is that you provide us with your Patreon tier, so we know which part of the experience that you're speaking to. But it's really something that we, being the three of us, we really want to hear from you guys. Like, what parts of the Patreon experience do you value? What parts are you, don't necessarily make as much of a difference for you? Like, there's also space at the end for you just to say whatever you want to us about anything. I mean, hopefully it's about Padres Hot Tub, but it really could be about anything. So that is an open paragraph for you guys to say whatever you'd like. But again, I would really appreciate it if you guys could let us know what you guys think of what we're providing for you as patrons.
Last thing, again, we're trying to build up our YouTube channel. We're trying to build up that subscriber number. Part of that is by getting likes and by getting comments. That helps drive the algorithm, to be sure. So we're doing another Padres Hot Tub giveaway. We've given away tickets. We have given away an autographed Blake Snell baseball, and now a Juan Soto, never been unboxed, mint condition bobblehead can be yours. Just need them to like and comment, subscribe, right?
Yeah. If you are subscribed to Padres Hot Tub and you like and comment on this here video on YouTube, you are automatically entered in. And if you remember for last time when we gave away the Blake Snowball, we added a little fun spinny wheelie for the giveaway. So that you will be on the spinny wheelie next week if you comment before, this time Monday next week. So please do that.
Juan Soto bobblehead giveaway. I don't need all these bobbleheads back here in this tiny little office. I'd rather give them to La Gente and drive a couple more subscribers along the way. Oh, is that Trevor Hoffman in his little car?
No, it's Jake Peavy.
Oh, Jake Peavy in his little car.
44.
Oh, nice.
Yes, the spring is broken though. So
I was just going to say, I feel like
decapitated.
He's seen better days. Like he had his face into the windshield. I'm like, Jake tied one on here. What's going on?
Oh, that's a Trevor bobblehead. Okay.
That's
Chris
the one with the very thick legs. Yes.
Yeah. That's and the I mean, it's hard to tell on camera, but his complexion is very unhealthy.
It's not going well.
It's not going well. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to make any untasteful jokes.
Thank God. Well, you know what is going well? You know what's definitely going well? Because it has to go well. It's time for Positivity Corner, everybody.
Yay!
Hooray!
I'd like to welcome you to Positivity Corner. This
I
is
think
where
for Positivity Corner, we're going to get out the Eric Hosmer bobblehead doll.
Let's do it. Come on, dog. Let's go, dog.
This isn't Leadership Corner.
Leadership Corner.
Here in Positivity Corner, each and every member of the Padres Hot Tub crew is going to say something positive about the Padres 2023 season specifically, not some bullshit about like, oh, Tony Gwynn's great, or I thought Jake Peavy was fun once, but something about this team. It's gotta be positive. Positive. Raphie.
Okay, I have a quick one and then a slightly longer one, and they're both actually about the 2023 Padres. Don't worry, you guys.
Appreciate it.
The quick one is that Eggy Rosario hit a home run, and that was cool. I'm glad Eggy's up. That was his first MLB home run. If you're gonna be garbage, have players develop in garbage time. So that's good. And to that end, Pedro Avila, maybe. Like, okay. Like, Pedro Avila currently in 37 innings has a 2.19 ERA. What I care about more is that he has a 3.34 FIP, which is very good. That's a very good FIP in a smallish sample. But, you know, when you start to, he's probably going to get 50 innings by the end of the year. And, like, I think that we can start to maybe say, hey, okay, he's at least a swingman for next year. I think you can say that comfortably. And if he is someone who we can potentially have as like our number 5 starter, like that's a really good development for the Padres because Lugo is going to free agency. Waka, we're either going to pay a lot of money or he's going to go to free agency. Snell is gone. There was some reporting by, I think, Bob Nightingale, so take it with a grain of salt, that the Padres are not going to pursue an extension because they believe he's going to ask for $200 million. This is Blake Snell that we're talking about. So any pitching that we can get is good news. So Pedro Avila is my positivity corner this week.
I love it. And it, you know, on my positivity corner, you kind of you tip the lead there, Raphie. And that's Blake Snell. You guys remember, in the weeks leading up to the trade deadline, I just wanted to see I just wanted to see Blake Snell be a Padre. I wanted to see as many starts of his as I could because I figured he was going to ask for a crazy amount of money and the Padres weren't going to give it to him. In his last 6 starts, Blake Snell has won. Not just like the game has been won. He has won by decision those games. He hasn't given up a home run in 3 games. And we're getting to see an actual front of the line ace, just like we did in 1998 with Kevin Brown. The circumstances couldn't be more different. It's frustrating. You and a lot of you may have preferred to have seen a high A and a double A guy come across through the 2023 year instead of Blake Snell. That's not what happened. Instead, we get to see a master do his work, a dude kind of having a resurgence of his career. He's been so damn good. I love his interviews. So I'm happy Blake Snell's on the team. And I remember early in the year, there was a thing in the Discord about how the team can't win when Blake Snell pitches. Well, now they only friggin' win when Blake Snell pitches. And put that in your pipe because that's what I'm going to do.
Boy, I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Blake Snell winning 6 straight decisions is not something I had.
5 of 6. I'm sorry. 5 of 6.
Okay. God damn it. It wasn't positive enough.
It's very positive.
Get to 6.
The only game they lost was Miami where they couldn't score him a friggin' run. So Blake Snell's doing it, man.
This is highly reminiscent of 1989. When a couple years prior, the Padres made a major trade that landed them an enigmatic left-hander who then came into his final form and won a Cy Young Award immediately prior to departing in free agency. Now, the player I am referring to is 1989 National League Cy Young Award winner Mark Davis, who set the league record and the Padres record at the time with 44 saves, ridiculously low ERA. So if Mark Davis and Blake Snell are going to follow the same path, then I am very excited to let Kansas City Royals fans know that Blake Snell is going to sign a 3-year, $14 million contract that's going to absolutely blow up on them. And he's never going to be the same again. That was the contract. It let Raphie believe this, man. It lit Major League Baseball on fire. Mark Davis got a 3-year, $14 million contract to be the closer of the Royals. He saved 44 games for the Padres in 1989. He saved 7 games for the Royals in the life of the contract.
Wow.
That's not a good cost basis per save. In out of the park baseball season that I'm playing, Blake Snell had an off year in 2023, so I was able to lock him in for 7 years at 17 per.
Well, that's a fictional world that none of us will ever get to live in. But here we are. All right, good job with Blake Snell.
It's better than the world we're in, Craig. I can simulate.
I will wrap up Positivity Corner by saying that 3 years ago, we were talking on this podcast about a young catcher that we were saying in a couple of years could compete as a potential batting title type guy. He was a guy who won the batting title in the Cal League behind the plate. He came rocketing up through the system, even got to play one game in the ridiculous season that didn't count and hit a homer in that game. Everything went backwards for Luis Campusano from that point forward, right? That winter, he got into his legal trouble. 2021 was a hot mess. 2022 really wasn't much better as all of that legal stuff resolved, and he was struggling, and obviously the organization had no confidence in him. Injuries have just consistently popped up for Luis Campusano at the absolute worst time early in his career, the kind of things that would derail many baseball careers. But this kid's got a lot of talent. He's got enough talent to pitch over these things, so to speak. And this season, in particular, the last several weeks, finally getting an opportunity to play semi-regularly. Luis Campusano is hitting 301, 341, 463 for an 804 OPS, a 124 OPS plus. This blows me away, guys. In 39 games, Luis Campusano has 20 runs batted in. Like, Xander Bogaerts doesn't have 50 runs batted in. Batting fifth all year behind all of these on-base machines. And he doesn't have 50 runs batted in the whole fucking year. And Luis Campusano has 20 runs batted in from the 7th spot in a minute in 39 games. So this is a real player. This is a real bat. He's 24 years old. It's not, oh, here's some dumb kid. I'm not calling Austin Nola a dumb kid, but here's somebody who came out of nowhere and had one good year in the minors and then played good for 39 games, and the organization's going to make a stupid mistake and bet on him, and he's a flash in the pan. Luis Campusano's been a hitter everywhere he's gone in his minor league career. He's been projected to be a hitter in the big leagues. He is finally getting the chance to play, and he's a hitter in the big leagues. This is a real bat that next year could be hitting 4th or 5th in this lineup, like 6th at the lowest. And that's really exciting, because what have we heard more than anything? All this team is a bunch of aging, overpaid losers who don't care about each other, Well, Luis Campusano is a young, controllable, affordable, real bat that can be a part of this team for years to come.
I just want to point out that Luis Campusano, and again, this is partially due to injury, partially due to COVID, partially due to so many factors, that he did not get to the major leagues sooner than he probably should have. But he is not going to be a free agent until the 2028-2029 offseason. That means that he will be 30 years old when he hits free agency, we are going to get all of Luis Campusano's prime years controlled and cost controlled on the Padres. And you're absolutely right, Craig. He's a 123 WRC plus. He could be hitting 5th, 6th, and depending on the fate of some people in the lineup come 2024, he could be even further up than that. So, I just looking at our stats for the year, the Padres between Gary Sanchez and Gary Sanchez and Luis Campusano have 2.5 WAR on the season from the catching position. And if you had told me before the year that we had 2.5 WAR from the catching position, I would have been thrilled. So, I mean, it doesn't count the fact that we had 0.9 negative WAR from Austin Nola. That brings the total back down to 1.6. But we are going to ignore that for obvious reasons. That's a great.
That was literally the joke I was about to tell off the back of this. It was like, throw in Nola and we're all the way up to 1.6. Yeah. No. So Luis Campusano finally coming into his own. So damn long overdue. Could have happened a year ago. Could have happened 2 years ago in a different universe. But now, as a result, Raphie just made the most important point. The Padres, as long as they don't do something stupid, are 95% guaranteed to get all of the best of Luis Campusano at the best cost. And that's what you need to put together a winner. That's what you need. Padres have that. Thank you for being there, Campy. And thus ends Positivity Corner.
I just want to point out, now that Positivity Corner is over, you said, as long as the Padres don't do something stupid, I'm like, well, then we're fucked. The
Campusano 17-year extension will be announced.
Exactly.
Next week. It'll be announced next week. Immaculate talk. And by the way, I should have thrown it in housekeeping. Immaculate talk continuing. Joe's told me in 2 weeks he's going to stop. So we're going to either shut down the podcast or switch co-host or do something. But I just have so much fun every day talking to Joe because we make such a point of putting different players in the grid and getting to different stories. And just for example, today we talked about Frank Thomas because one of the categories was White Sox 300 average season. And Joe put in Frank Thomas, and we talked about Frank Thomas, and I pulled up Frank Thomas's baseball reference page, and what a dominating force he was in Major League Baseball. And you draw a line on his baseball reference page at age 30, and you will eliminate all the black ink, all of the league leading. You'll get rid of all the all-star appearances, all the silver sluggers, all the MVP votes. It all just goes away. And it's not to say that he wasn't productive occasionally. Even when he was 39, I think he had a 2.4 WAR season.
Yeah.
But almost every player in baseball history at age 30, the page will turn. And it'll be a lesser version that continuously gets worse until the end. And it's the rarest of things where you see that guy who surged at 35. Or that guy who had the Renaissance season after 2 down years at 33, where he went back to the All-Star game and led the league and this and that. It's only the true greats that do that. Almost everyone else is done. We talked about Chris Sale and Steven Strasburg on today's show, right? 22 to 29, most powerful pitchers in baseball, most dominant, scary forces in baseball. Age 30, done. 50 more innings combined for their careers. Combined. So every time you see someone signed at age 29 to a long contract, just understand. It's the thing that every day that I do Immaculate Talk, it's just reinforced. You should never do this. You should almost never do it. There's 0.00% of players who will get over this particular hump without suffering decline. And if you don't have that very special one, good luck to you, mate.
Yeah. When we were doing positive replacement this week, I don't know why I had never vocalized this at any point during the season, but the Padres' entire starting rotation is dudes in their 30s. Like
Yeah.
the entire starting rotation. That's crazy. And like, I don't know about like, I'm not even going to speak to like if that's a good idea or not. There are obviously pluses and minuses. All five dudes, I don't say all five, but like most of the five dudes, at least three of the five dudes are there because they're superlative pitchers. Okay. And Lugo and Waka are having great years. So like they're like, they clearly belong where they belong. But this is like the total tact in the AJ Preller theory of roster construction, which in turn goes to the AJ Preller Starfucker model, which is like, I'm just going to put dudes in there and see what happens. But dudes are human, just like all of us. And we've seen that this year with two of Darvish and Musgrove just completely down for the count.
They certainly saw it coming. We've seen a, increased emphasis on starting pitching in the drafts. Like, no doubt. Snelling, Lesko, Lizarraga. They want those guys there to get rid of this problem, but it doesn't look like it's going to be any different next year.
Yeah, part of that's because we're taking almost exclusively high school arms.
Yeah.
Adam Mazur is a college arm, and there's probably other people I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But like Lesko, Snelling, like all these dudes are super young. And so that's why it's like, oh, we're taking all these pitchers, but they're still not here yet. You know what I mean? Like, remember, Mackenzie Gore was the first pick in 2017.
Yeah.
And he's like only now, really last season, like a bona fide big leaguer 5 years after he was drafted. So, and that's just what happens when you take high school arms.
Well, they were counting on some young guys that didn't pan out. Paddock, Dinelson. Like, I'm sure it was easy for them to tell themselves that they were going to be okay for 2022, 2023, when fate just was like, nah,
they gave
guys.
They gave up on Chris Paddock. They traded him.
100%.
I mean? It was,
Sure.
Yeah.
And that was fine. And he got hurt again. But Chris Paddock and these guys made that point on par this week. Was, not bad while he was a San Diego starter. Yeah, the problem is he had the big hat and the sheriff's star and the boots and the bolo tie and the reputation and it's Paddock Day and
the problem was hubris, Craig.
Yeah. Expectation is the thief of joy. Now we can just look at the stats and coldly with an astute, what was it? An astute sensitivity.
Humility.
With an astute humility, we could look at Chris Paddock's line and say, I guess he was an all right 4-starter. That's fine. Should he be starting game 1 of a playoff series? Maybe not. Maybe not. All right, we're going to buzz through the menu here today, gang, and I'm sure we'll bog down at certain points. There's not a ton happening in Padre land, and we will certainly mill through and sift through the rubble here to figure out what we can.
Nick Hernandez's family just got so mad at you. Nick Hernandez's family was just
who is Nick Hernandez?
He's a pitcher. He pitches for the Padres organization in Major League Baseball.
He does, huh?
He's on my OOTP team because he plays for the Padres organization in Major League Baseball.
Never heard of the guy. He's here, so that's cool. Kind of going back to a topic we had a couple weeks ago. And I'm probably going to have us recut that rant from a couple weeks ago and just post it on the channel again, Rafe. But like, the Padres are just silent right now. And it's friggin' obnoxious that here we are. The team is eliminated. They've been eliminated from the West. They'll be eliminated from the wild card. What is it? There's 18 days left. So within 10 days or less, they will be eliminated from the playoff chase. Nothing from Preller since his Ben and Woods interview right after the trade deadline. Nothing.
Well, he was right about Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter's back, baby.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Right? We're going to score a lot of runs and win a lot of games.
Oh, yeah.
With Rich Hill and G-Man Choi.
Oh, yeah.
We've heard nothing from Peter Seidler since July when I was on vacation in Cincinnati. So first week of July, road series in Cincinnati. That's the last time we've heard word one from Peter Seidler.
You were not in Cincinnati, like having Skyline Chili on vacation.
No. I was on vacation, like in Sequoia
Right.
or Yosemite,
Okay.
listening on the MLB app to the game in Cincinnati, hearing every half inning, Spectrum One delivered, blah 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 blah, and then and then reading on my phone, Peter Seidler saying that AJ is excellence.
Okay, just needed to clarify.
Yes, I've been in Cincinnati. I have had Skyline Chili. Have you had Skyline Chili?
I have not.
So there's a slight nutmeggy taste that
Don't like that.
I don't like those words. I don't like any of that.
Everything else about it, I'm like, I'm genetically disposed to
Keep
taking
your nut out of my chili, Meg,
and putting like heaping tons of cheese on it, and then like chili seems like that's okay too. But there's a weird. It's fine. It's fine. They also have these little miniature hot dogs that are like 2 inches long. These little conies, and those are, you know what they are? They're fine. They're fine. They're absolutely fine. My opt-out moment came and went. We talked about this on group therapy, but I'll mention it as well. The guy that I partner with on our full season tickets was pretty cool about keeping the tickets. Like, well, if you opted out, I'd just take control of it. And I thought that the overall utility to our hot tub community was such that I wasn't going to back out, but it pissed me off that I couldn't pull that lever because I'm so ticked off at the fact that this organization has just gone into radio silence mode. Like, hey, it's NFL season. Aztecs are playing. Like, we can get through the next 3 weeks and just kind of hush out into the night. And that'll be that. And we'll be fine.
It's very disheartening from an ownership group that talked a lot in the offseason. Front office, I should say, not an ownership group, because Peter Seidler's the owner. He's the one that talks. But everybody in the front office was talking a lot. Now, when Padres fans have invested so much of their time, money, and hopes into the team, leadership calls for clear communication. It calls for accountability. And that's what I want this offseason. So to be in the middle of the season and not be seeing it, don't love it, Craig.
I honestly wish that they would have like broadcast on YouTube or Twitter or Twitch or something when they did the saging of home plate with Peter Seidler and his wife and AJ Preller and Josh Stein, because at least then they would have been displaying a cognizance of the situation. I might not agree with the methods in which they fix it, but at least they would be acknowledging that something is wrong. They haven't even done that. You know what I mean? They haven't even said, hey, there's a problem. Like, there's a problem, because if they admit there's a problem, then there needs to be something done to be fixed. And it's very clear they don't want to do the thing that needs fixing. So they're not going to even acknowledge that there's a problem. And so we live in crazy land. So welcome, boys. We're gone from positivity corner to crazy land. We only eat Skyline Chili here. It's very fun.
No.
Put extra nutmeg on. Just
banana moon pies.
It's only good with the nutmeg. You don't understand. Manny Machado was in Monday's starting lineup back at designated hitter. He sat out on Sunday. Says his tennis elbow is, I forget exactly what word he used. It was pulling or
catching.
Catching. That's it. It's catching.
Yeah.
Why is Manny Machado playing?
He wants those numbers, baby. That's really all I can come down to, is that he just wants to play. Like, he knows where they are at in the season. Dude has played through probably more of these years than many other Padres, living in Baltimore for as long as he did. So he knows the game, man. And I think it's just about the back of the baseball card for him at this point. Nothing else makes sense. If he was like, I want to be fully healthy, get into surgery right away, and come back roaring in 2024, he'd be gone.
It blows me away that I'm looking at this team's 2-3-4, and listen, batting averages and everything, and I know that, and the modern game is entirely different from the game I grew up watching. It's entirely different from the game I grew up watching. But batting average has almost gotten so out of style that now it's becoming a Moneyball style inefficiency. Like, can you actually hit? Should be something that is asked. it really kind of blows my mind that the 2-3-4 for this team, Tatis, Soto, Machado, are hitting 257, 256, 251. Like, those are so deeply disappointing numbers in
Especially
terms of
for
being
Fernando.
fulcrums
Isn't
of
Fernando's
production.
career like 35 points higher than that?
Yes.
Isn't Fernando like a 285 career hitter? Like of those
Yes.
three, he has to be the highest career lifetime average. That's why we like watching Luis Campusano so much, Craig. The dude's a hitter. He's
Yeah.
not trying to hit a home run. That last week, this weekend when they beat Houston, that single, that beautiful little single he got, on a 2-2 count, nice and short, punched it right over. RBI, led to a huge inning in a huge game when they blew out the champs by 10 runs.
281 career hitter.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Thank you, Craig.
Thank
281 career hitter.
Yeah. So, anyways, that does blow my mind. I sound like Canepa. I understand.
Well,
D-grade to the
it's
hitting
nice
coach.
watching balls put in play, man. Like it's a better, it's funner to watch, more fun.
It is more fun to watch, or if you live by the Rincon Casino, it's funner. But
So specific.
It's also hard. It's also harder. Like, it's never been harder to hit than it is in modern Major League Baseball. I'll make a second reference. No, it's true, Raphie.
Dude, last year, there was a shift last year. There's no shift this year. It was verifiably harder to hit last year than it was this year.
Okay, these days.
Yes.
It is the hardest to hit that it's ever been in Major League Baseball. There are no Wilbur Woods out there throwing 378 innings of knuckleball in one season and throwing 51 innings. There are no pitchers throwing 275 innings with 165 strikeouts, which was just honestly a very regular thing that would happen a dozen times or more a year in Major League Baseball every year growing up, that someone would start every fourth game and pitch 7 to 8 innings every game and strike out like 3 or 5 or a really good game 7. And it was fine. Like, it was okay. Now everybody throws 97. Like, every reliever throws 100. That used to be the one guy in the league, and now it's every guy in the league with a wipeout slider and a sweeper that their pitching coach just taught them. That's breaking StatCast. So, like, in so many ways, the data and analytics of baseball has made it a far more efficient and ruthless game than it's ever been. And it's within that some of the magic of the sport is leached, in terms of, like, it really is hard to hit higher than 250, even as a great hitter in Major League Baseball these days, as long as you have any type of 3-2 outcome in your game.
Yeah, if your approach is efficient, trying to maximize efficiency, then it's going to go away. But I think there's a very spirited debate, especially amongst the readers of oh my goodness, plug it. Our newsletter. I'm losing it. Letters to AJ.
Newsletter?
Letters to AJ.
Letters to AJ.
Letters to AJ. Like, he's really got his thumb on this approach thing, leading to the average with runners in scoring position affecting games. And we saw that in Tom Ferducci's article today of, the Padres are an epic, massive, terrible, abject failure. That almost article. That there's a conscious decision being made to try to hit the ball hard. And I don't know if it's organizational at wide, because we do have guys that are actually going up there being hitters. Campusano does it. Tatis does it when he seemingly feels like. But he wants those home runs too, so now he's making big swings. It's something that needs to change if the team wants to be successful in close games and be a championship team. They need to put the bat on the ball with 2 strikes on, regardless of if it's going to be a bloop or a pop out, whatever. If you're giving up the home run, fine. Put the ball in play. Today's game demands it.
Real quick. So yeah, you referenced that Tom Verducci article in Sports Illustrated. He essentially hammers the team for being a team that doesn't commit to any style of team play. And his evidence for that is statistical. It is the simplicity of, putting up the tables that we have gone through all summer, right? Last in the league in late and close, high leverage, opposite field, called strikes, 29th in opposite field hits, tied 26th runners in scoring position, et cetera, et cetera. Historically bad in late and close. One of the only teams worse with runners in scoring position than overall. The part that I found interesting was until the article just seemingly ended, as if it just had a word count and it stopped, was driving a really strong correlation, Raphie, between winning in the modern game and your team runners in scoring position batting average ranking, noting that of the last 6 world champions, well, let's say 5 because 2020 isn't a real season and doesn't count, that of those 5 real seasons, every one of the champions finished no worse than 5th with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's a stat that implies that your team is very good. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, the teams that are very good tend to be competitive. So I don't know if it's like necessarily that like correlation is causation, where like, oh, because they're high in runners in scoring position batting average, like therefore they are, World Series worthy. I just think that they're consistently putting themselves in position to be making the playoffs and therefore get hot and et cetera, et cetera. I think one of the things that was interesting to note that stuck out to me is that this year's Braves, who are the best team in baseball and look like a juggernaut, and I think even if this team had a good season, it would be really hard to get past Atlanta this year. And I think it's worth remembering that. We'll see how they do in the postseason. They are 8th in runners in scoring position batting average this season. However, they currently lead the league in home runs with runners in scoring position. And I believe that they lead the league in OPS plus with runners in scoring position. So it's not, it's like, yeah, batting average matters a lot. And something that John Percotas talks about as well, of like, you are rewarded more just for putting the ball in play when there are runners on base, because weird shit happens when you put the ball in play. And so therefore it behooves you to just try and like make contact as opposed to being in lower leverage situations, which Tom Verducci notes in this article as well, and just kind of like swinging for the fences. But I think it goes back to that thing that you talked about months ago, Craig, of talking about the 90s Dodgers and how there was 25 cabs for 25 guys. And this year's Padres team, I think, is 26 Ubers for 26 dudes. Like, honestly.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. They just haven't committed to one another. And as such, it's turned into a shit season. Now, before we break, just really looking at our pathetic, sad, hopeless last vestige of trying to salvage something out of this stupid season, which was could we be bad enough at least to keep our pick? And I'm here to sadly report that it's looking really bad on that front too.
We need to rely on luck, and that's totally worked great for us all year long.
We're not quite bad enough, guys. When you look at it, there are certain teams we really have to pass. There are 5 teams we can't pass. Like there's literally 5. We're not going to pass the White Sox. We're not going to pass the Royals. We're not going to pass the A's or the Cardinals or the Rockies. I mean, the Cardinals are 17 games under. We're 10 games under. Unless we just lose out, we're not going to pass the Cardinals. So it comes down to, you got to get worse than the Mets. You got to get worse than the Tigers, and you got to get worse than the Nationals, who are 15 games under 500 and have lost 8 of their last 10. The Pirates too. You got to get worse than the Pirates too.
No,
I think it's going to be really, really hard.
The sad thing is we don't play any of those teams anymore. Otherwise, we might have a chance.
Well, yeah,
if we played the Pirates, I'd say it's coming.
Yeah. No, yeah, because the Pirates kill us. No, we're playing the A's and the Rockies, coming
And the
up. We're
White Sox.
playing the worst teams in the league.
Well, those those are the 5 worst ones. I'm talking about those in-betweeners, like the
No,
Nationals,
I
the
know what you
Pirates.
mean. I'm saying that,
Yeah.
and in addition to everything else, now the schedule doesn't set up well. It now sets up well for the Padres to make a meaningless 7 of 9 as they roll through the Cardinals, Rockies, and A's. To puff up the argument that everyone is going to make, and at some point, each one of us, like as if we've been cursed by the witch, each one of us at some point this winter will make the argument that the team was unlucky and is sure to simply rise above because baseball is stupid. All of us will make that argument at some point. 3 times we will deny that we knew him before the rooster crows. It's gonna happen. Okay. and I can feel it coming, and it's gonna be from stupid shit like beating the A's 3 in a row. So very briefly, can Jerks and Profar's back in the lineup? I guess Garrett Cooper's hurt too.
Jesus Christ.
Because he was really good and he's just stopped playing.
Yeah, what else? They haven't released anything on it.
Because Profar's back at first tonight. And I wrote as a joke in the menu, can we have Profar play every day? And I think the answer is a very simple yes. He's going to play every day for the rest of the season.
Makes sense. I mean, you know, it's not like you have a whole farm system full of young guys that you might want to see compete at the major league level. You got to get a look at this guy you've known for 4 years.
So Prof's back. Should we start really paying close attention here at Padres Hot Tub to the Missions playoff run? Should that be the thing? Should next week's show just be about San Antonio's playoff run?
No, I don't care.
I mean, should we pay attention in that it's something for us to talk about? Sure. I don't think that there's anything to be gleaned for the future of the Padres on what the San Antonio Missions playoff run is like. I'm glad that those guys are having an experience. It's clear that the front office is doing some weird gambit where they're putting their entire talent wave into AA to have them all play together and build chemistry and come up together. At the expense of maybe, potentially bringing some guys up too soon. Who knows? That's a debate that has been had. So I guess yay, but do we need to talk about it?
But no, let's not buy into it. Let's not buy that message from the front office that's entertaining. It's not. We don't care. We don't care that they might have chemistry in 4 years. We want a functioning organization now. Can we acronym that? It's a little long.
Missions Riverwalk coming next week. No, not coming next week. Okay. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is, we're going to just take this break. That's what we're going to do. Okay. The last video I did, Chris, you're doing such a great job with these Padres recaps, and I don't know how you find the creativity for it. I'm so over this team right now. It's ridiculous.
I like them. I like that brown. I like the uniforms. Maybe that's just all it comes down to.
I'm proud of you. I am. The last one I did was highlighting a particular stretch of the schedule in which the Padres could turn things around and still had a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. A 26-game stretch in which 20 of the 26 were directly against teams ahead of them in the standings. Guys, the stretch is over. The stretch ended. We were hoping for 18-8, maybe 20-6. The Padres won 11-15 in those 26 games. 11-15. They won 2 swing series in that time. 2. I mean, they beat Baltimore, but they beat every team in the AL East that doesn't care about them, so it doesn't matter. They beat the Marlins 2 out of 3, and then when it was already over, they beat the Giants 3 in a row at the end of that stretch. What a pathetic showing by this franchise to have it all laid out in front of them, to give us all the false hope of, we could improve, and there was never going to be a run this year. There was never going to be a run. It's until this A's, Rockies, Cardinals stretch. There's never going to be a run.
Yeah, they inoculated themselves against winning at some point between the NLCS and here, and it proved very strong. They're just not winners. 11-15 seems a pretty darn in line with their season average. That's who they are.
Yeah. I like there needs to be a change. I'm kind of like feeling like I'm running out of things to say, but like it's like if you
going to a dark place.
I'm honestly really dark. Like it's just like if this is I don't have a lot of things left, guys. And so
I feel you.
If they don't make a change, what are we doing supporting this team? Like,
Raphie's next breakdown video is going to be made out of cutout magazines.
Raphie's next breakdown video is just him breaking down.
He's breaking down.
It's just Raphie talking at the wall.
Sending like weird mail to 19 Tony Gwynn Drive. Like little like AJ Preller voodoo like
I'm thinking more of like, and look, right now on a furlough, this is the perfect time. Invest in a lot of mood lighting. Go full Bo Burnham. Like, do you have a Casio keyboard? Could we start writing songs?
I just don't think that the universality of COVID I think that's a little bit of a bigger audience than the struggles of runners in scoring position of the 2023 Padres. I don't know.
But are you sure? All right. We've been officially eliminated. The last Houston series was just another series. We won by a zillion and then we lost by a zillion, which is unusual. Normally that other game is a 3-0 loss. So a 12-2 loss is weird. And then, of course, the requisite take a 3-run lead. Doesn't matter. It could be 3-0. It could be 4-1. It could be 5-2. But take a 3-run lead, blow that lead in the middle innings, never come back, have 5 opportunities to come back, never come back. Those are our Padres. That's the 2023 Padres. Our 3 buckets, and we're going to keep pouring water in those leaky-ass buckets all the way to the end.
Speaking of leaky-ass buckets...
What?
There's no cauldron.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I was like, you are going right down the menu. Yeah. Raphie, Matt Waldron is not, that's not a thing.
He's not throwing 100% knuckleballs. I refuse to believe.
That was your success condition?
Yes, 100%. He, in fact, in that start yesterday, he threw 50% sinkers, a pitch that on the season, Matt Waldron has, as I'm looking it up, really bad numbers. He only I'm trying to vamp until I can get the stats up.
No, I looked at him before the last start, and they are
he has
unlookable bad.
Here we go. He's given up a batting average of 259, a slugging of 519. That is a WOBA of 338, an expected WOBA of 428 on his sinker, and he chose to throw that pitch 50% of the time. His knuckleball, by contrast, has a batting average of 167 and a slug of 222 and an expected WOBA of 235. Just throw it every time. What are we doing? It's like, do the good thing more and the bad thing less. Like, I don't hire me. I'm here. Like,
he's also got a cutter, Raphie. He's got a cutter.
Yeah. The cutter has it's not bad. It's good. It's like 188.
It's better than his fastball.
It's better than his fastball. Okay.
So
sprinkle in the cutter if you're nasty, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can't exactly tunnel off a knuckleball other than with like a roll of toilet paper or something. Like you can't really tunnel off of a knuckleball. So you can't really, I don't know if he can tunnel his cutter off of his knuckleball, but yeah, Matt Waldron, no, just no, stop it. Cut it out.
Hey, at least it was a friggin' story in the season. Just something that we'll remember. Remember,
if you want a tank, please roll him out there. You know, him, Hill, everything named Hill that throws left-handed. Just keep using those things. Tim Hill's finger got him back on the DL again. Poor Tim Hill. He's so bad, his finger really hurts. Like it really, really hurts. It's a real shame. He sprained it one time swinging the golf club, and nothing's ever been the same. Oh, that was me.
Maybe Faith Hill is available to pitch. I mean, her father-in-law was a pretty darn good pitcher.
This number blew me away, but it also isn't surprising at all. Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, and Juan Soto have 54 double plays this year.
That's
54.
108 outs.
Wait, sorry. You said Machado, Bogaerts, and Soto?
Yeah. 3, 4, 5. 54. Bogaerts has 20. Bogaerts is just an automatic
major league leader
with 2 runners on. Yes, leads everybody. But guess who's just 4 and 5 behind?
Yeah.
Manny and Soto right there. Of all the things you want to talk about, chemistry, taxi cabs, Ubers, we've got 3 plotters in the middle of our lineup that all hit hardline drives. And it's like we've got like the 3 perfect double play candidates that are lined up 1, 2, 3. And it turns out that's really shitty for an offense. And it turns out that it's perfect for creating all these weird phenomena like positive run differential and games where you score 12 runs out of nowhere and other games where you get shut out and are held to 1 run, because all the time, the very best hitters on this team are grounding into the league's most double plays. 54 DPs between 3 guys, and they hit 3, 4, 5 back to back to back. That's going to be, to me, the most underreported part of the 2023 Padres, was that they were just an absolute double play factory. And then they'll go, well, actually, I drew a plot graph and it was a correlation of it was this. Like, every big situation, this team hits into a double play. Sorry about the plot graph. That was kind of an obscure. It almost feels like a shot at Raphie, who did a plot graph.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't think I'm like taking this personally, but
it went over my head.
No, but I recognized it as I was saying it. I'm just saying it. There are so many things, Raphie, that you're going to be the first. All 3 of us are going to deny that we knew Jesus before the cock crows, but you're going to be the first, because that plot graph is going to tell you over the winter. You're going to stare at like 30 of them, and by February 1st, you're going to be like, they were the unluckiest team in baseball, and they're going to win 96 games simply by turning up and showing their assholes to the umpire. They are going to win 96 games doing that. I know you're going to be the first. We're all going to betray Jesus by the end, Raphie, but you're going to be the first. I know it.
Yeah, it's because we're going to be, I'm going to come out of like winter hibernation looking like Smeagol. Just me.
Hey, Craig. Okay, boys, can we please cool it on asking our Jewish co-host about betraying Jesus and then comparing him to fucking Schmeagol?
I didn't even clock it. I'm not gonna lie. I did think that was. I was gonna say,
like, well, actually,
but when you mentioned the stats, and I was like, I don't know if I'm taking this personally, but I was. But you didn't say like, hey, certain Jewy nerd over there on the other side of the podcast. Yeah, and I'm like, should I take that personally? I don't know. Sorry, the guys. There's nothing left for the Padres to talk about, so we're just gonna like say like weird subtweety things about each other.
Oh, I fogged up my glasses. That's it. Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
Put that on your plot graph.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So
speaking of things unholy, 54 double plays anyway.
54 double plays. Xander Bogaerts is hitting almost as well in September as he did in April. Are we to make anything of this other than baseball
stupid? It's the most obnoxious team in history.
I think that's a fair answer.
That's all I got on the subject. What else are you going to say? Like, way to go, Cortisone. Team MVP. Good job.
Well, guys, Chris, you saw what actually turned him around, right? In his words?
No, I may have missed this.
Did you miss this too, Rafe? Xander Bogaerts had a horrible run of fielding.
Oh, yeah. I did see this. Yeah.
He had like 5 errors in 7 games or something. And then he literally said, every time I get on a bad fielding streak, I start hitting and I stay hot for a long time. And he's like, you could go to an AC. It was in the AC's newsletter.
The UT research team backed him up too. They said, yeah. He's right. When he makes this many errors in this many games, he rakes.
So clearly, like, tie frying pans to this guy's hands at the start of 2024, put a frog with a tennis racket inside his glove, and like guaranteed hot streak coming.
Congratulations, Xander. You are the team's new center fielder.
Yeah. What a stupid superpower that is. I feel like, oh, guys, when I make 6 errors in a 4-game span, all of a sudden I hit 307. It's like, fuck, all right. You're not in the Avengers, dude. Sorry. Go down the street to the X-Men.
Bogart's Magic the Gathering card. After 5 errors, draw 3 cards, gain 6 power.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, what is going on? Well, how did we pick the shortstop who only gets hot when he makes errors?
Meanwhile, transition man coming in. We have another guy who can play shortstop who had a great piece written about him in The Athletic. And it makes me wonder why we're not playing him at shortstop, Craig.
Ha-Seong Kim, that was a tremendous long-form story by Dennis Lin. And a lot of Chan-Ho Park quotes, a lot of really research and reporting into the impact that Ha-Seong Kim has had on not only the Padres' popularity in Korea, but literally in convincing talented players that they can now compete in the major leagues, including an outfielder. And is his name Boon Kyung Kim?
Jung-Hoo Lee.
Jung-Hoo Lee. Okay. Jung-Hoo Lee.
Sorry,
is it Jung-Hoo Lee?
Fucking Lord.
Was it Jung-Hoo Lee or like the exact opposite? I'm not sure.
We are going to get protested by the anti-fucking defamation league. We're going to get picketed in our driveways.
Anyways, so I'm not looking at it. But yeah, there's another outfielder coming that like he and Kim are buddies, and the Padres could have the inside edge as a result of this, and maybe it's another great contract that comes out of a circumstance. Also, Kim, a huge part of the article that I think is something that we never think of as, Weros here in the US is just how friggin' hard it would be to be in a different culture, different country, trying to maximize your skills in a situation where everything around you is unfamiliar. And that if the organization that brought you over was incredibly cool to you and welcoming and made you feel safe and made you feel confident and comfortable, that you would probably not then turn on a Scott Boras dime in the free agent market and act as ruthlessly and cynically as any quant would do when they were, calculating Ha-Seong Kim's value in the free agent market. I think there's a very, very strong argument to be made on the human level that Ha-Seong Kim is going to want to keep playing for the San Diego Padres. Now, Rafe, we've talked about the statistical argument, and we even talked earlier in this show about the general truism that hiring anyone to play baseball after 30, you're probably getting reduced results. But the question I wanted to ask out of all of this is, given the inroads the Padres are making financially, organizationally, but also in terms of a talent pipeline, they're bringing in the B-grade people from the Japanese league, a la Nick Martinez, Robert Suarez, right? They're getting these players from the Far East, and now they've got the biggest foothold ever in Korea. Is there a value to a Kim extension? I'm not saying 10 years, $300 million, right? Is there a value to a Kim extension that would go beyond F-War?
Well, I'll say this. In banter, we talked a little bit about the advantage from a communication standpoint of just saying the quiet part out loud, like how there's actually value in that these days because there's so much like BS out there. And if they came out and flat out said, hey, we are signing Ha-Seong Kim to an extension. And also, Ha-Seong Kim is going to, be this ambassador representative of sorts to like South Korean talent. And like with the we are signing him with this expressed idea. And just if they just said it, like I actually think that would be super valuable, because the trouble is earlier this year you had the Dodgers signing Hyun-Suk Jung, who was a 19-year-old right-hander who was widely expected to be the number 1 overall pick in the KBO draft. He's 19, so he's a high schooler. And they just plucked him out of Korea and said, "Oh no, you're gonna sign with us, and you're gonna be great." And so it's like, if you can make the argument that that's what you're going to be doing, then yeah, in theory that's great, but it has to work. If like the Dodgers are still going to come in, or other teams are going to come in and sign Korean stars, then like, what does it matter? So I think in that sense, you would have to say the quiet part out loud.
Okay, yeah. I mean, even if it's a AC article, after the fact, even if it's a newsletter piece after the fact, it's just like, hey, they really think that this is going to make a gigantic difference, and this is a real part of it. Because AJ Preller, he never says doesn't say shit. Like, no matter, he'll just say yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no. But if that is part of the thinking, the actual thinking, if they want to announce a Kim extension before the Korea series, as they bring in the outfielder, is his name Jung-Hoo Lee?
That's correct.
That's what I thought. Then okay, like we're creating an avenue for exploitation of an inefficiency within a global game. We're tapping markets that are not fully tapped, and thus we're getting the best things at the best price out of those markets. That's outstanding, right? That's the type of thing that would make an owner say of his president of baseball operations, "You, sir, are excellence." Like, you're doing these things. We've now got these talent pathways that other franchises can't regularly take advantage of. And even when they try, we're now reputationally in the market at a level where we're going to get players that are going to make a choice to want to come to us, as opposed to coming to another organization with other things being equal. They're going to want to pick us over whatever, because look what a great job they did with Ha-Seong Kim. And look how they stuck with him and helped him develop into becoming a major league star. And they embraced him and, allowed his culture to flourish, et cetera, et cetera. Like, that type of reputational burnish is really, really solid, and something that we can be proud of as an organization, even in a bad year.
Sure. Hold on. Nah, I'm going to push back hard now, because the Dodgers are the most popular team in South Korea. I know that the Dennis Lear article has this narrative of Ha-Seong Kim having the revolution that brings the Padres, but the Dodgers are still it. Like you said, they just got the best youth prodigy out of the country. They've already got the inroads. They've already got the organizational varnish. They have secret compounds in Africa dedicated to scouting players. Like, the Dodgers are already doing this internationally. So if you're framing the Ha-Seong Kim potential extension only under those lines, then probably not, because you're chasing a dragon that's pretty darn huge with, better infrastructure, better reputation, then maybe not. I'd still argue, like I have on this show, that it's worth extending Ha-Seong Kim because the crowd chants his name, because he's an awesome clubhouse presence. And I do think that the baseball value of the guy, and again, not 10 years, not until his late 30s even, but it seems like he likes getting his name chanted. It seems like he's grateful for the opportunity. It seems like he does feel safe in San Diego. He'd probably take less on a lesser deal. Like, I feel like it would happen, which is why I've had extreme reactions when we say we can't do it out of hand. We can do anything we set our minds to.
Well, I guess that was the last point. Yeah, look, we can go around and around in a circle. It always depends on what the contract is. But there's been some voices in our Discord when we have talked about this that are automatically dismissive, saying things such as the Dansby Swanson contract is a bare minimum starting point. for what Ha-Seong Kim will get on the market.
Could.
Could that be true? Sure, that could be true. Could he get an offer like that? Potentially he could get an offer like that. The point I am making is that maybe this is one of those rare circumstances where the Padres could get in front of the market with a contract that's fair to Ha-Seong Kim in Ha-Seong's eyes without being what the Players Association would want. Because here's the other thing. Who's to say that when Ha-Seong Kim is 38 years old, that he's going to want to live in the United States of America? He's playing in a foreign country. There's a different level of how long you're going to put up with that unless you become a convert and you move to that country and make it your permanent place of residence. As long as he's Korean, he may want to not be in America when he's 35. He might want to be home in Korea, raising kids in Korea,
Yeah.
and all I'm saying is we haven't explored any of that. And that cultural layer of being comfortable in a place could really play in the Padres' favor in the way of getting a Kim extension that's not a destructive, market-sized 8-year deal that's going to send us all down and make us hate Ha-Seong Kim in 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's an avenue there specifically because, and this is where I'm, again, positivity corner to wrap it, the Padres have done such a good job, whether it be with Nomo in Japan, with Park, Chano Park in Korea, with their front office, with Preller, etc. They've done such a good job of making the players they have signed be comfortable and productive that hopefully it works in our favor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just to put like kind of a little bit of a contrast for folks to offer, or to offer some folks, Yu Darvish has said that he now like wants to make San Diego his home. And that was like part of the reason why they signed the extension here. And I mean, whether or not that was a smart contract, we can debate that all day. But it's clear that like they live here in the off season and they like it here and they want to make this place their home. By contrast, a Japanese pitcher of the similar age, Masahiro Tanaka, decided to go back to Japan. While he was 30, he was going to be in his age 32 season, which for a pitcher of his stature and who's had good years, like he could have continued to play in America. And he decided to go back to Japan and become, I think at the time, the highest paid Japanese pitcher and go home. And yeah, maybe Ha-Seong Kim wants to do that. So I think that that's a great point, Craig. And I think the question just becomes, can we strike that balance of, hey, you are coming off the best year of your career, cough, Manny Machado, cough. We're going to sign you to an extension, but also we are taking a chance on you and we're buying out an extra ARB year and like all this stuff, or, where we have you at a cost controlled amount. Like, can you bring it back to us? And then you get kind of more in one of those Atlanta Braves situations where it's like, we're giving you the security for the cost control. Will you do that? Then yeah, I could talk myself into it. It's just that this front office does not really have a great track record with extensions and long deals. So
no,
we'll see.
Not good at all. But just a little note of optimism to wrap things up, because, when I think about 2023, there's going to be a lot of dismissive thoughts. There's going to be a lot of things that we want to throw away. But Ha-Seong Kim has played one hell of a baseball season for the San Diego Padres. And whether or not it was just done in vain, I don't know if you guys, do you guys watch Winning Time? We joked about
Not
this.
yet, but the more I get to it, like I don't love the NBA. It's not my thing, but the more I hear about it, the more I'm intrigued. I always liked Jeff Pearlman's writing, even when he was like with Yahoo Sports and stuff. So I'm intrigued. I have so little time to watch it, but I want to now.
Showtime.
I read the book and I watched the first season, and I have a Winning Time story for you guys later. But I have not watched the season 2 yet.
It's really good. But there was a scene in last night's episode. John C. Reilly, who is just great as Jerry Buss, is confronting Jerry West and Pat Riley and says, like, we just lost a year of our lives. Like, we just wasted a year of our lives. And I really hope that conversation is happening in the Padres front office. Whether or not that they're going to ever let us inside to know that, I hope that is happening, because they did. They wasted a year of this franchise on 2023. It's just an absolute utter waste. And while that is going to be easy for us to just dismiss, I'm going to remember Blake Snell either finishing second or getting a random ass Cy Young, in this year. And I'm going to remember Ha-Seong Kim playing like mid-career Robbie Alomar for the San Diego Padres.
That's a great way to look at it, man. We're we're on a long journey. Like, if you're a San Diego Padres fan now, then you've had to endure a lot. Even if you're one of the more recent generation, if Tatis got you into the game, in the last 4 years, you've had to endure a lot. It's been a crash course in being a Padres fan, the suffering and the disappointment. But you can't do it if you don't think there's a brighter tomorrow. And what Raphie's saying with the changes is we just want that brighter tomorrow. And if the front office keeps repeating behaviors that got it here, it makes no sense to think it's gonna be brighter. So for the folks that haven't been a Padres fan for a long time, who haven't been into baseball for a long time, if Fernando Tatis Jr. got you into the sport, then the next year is gonna be better. Like, I don't know how to get off of that, Craig. Like, we have to hold on to that. We have to hold on to the next year is going to be better. We don't have to think it was just bad luck. We don't have to think that, but we have to think that next year is going to be better. And I'm glad Ha-Seong is going to be, at least for one more season, a San Diego Padre.
Let me rephrase
that. At least until
Chris.
the Korean series,
Yeah.
a San Diego Padre.
Raphie will be the first and you'll be the second, Chris. It's I who will let us down the third. Hey, like, comment, subscribe. Juan Soto bobblehead in a Padres uniform. Who knows? Could this become a rarity?
I got a baseball card of him in a Padres uniform to add to that too. I almost forgot.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a Christmas one with snowflakes because that's what we all friggin' are.
Soto bobblehead and snowflake baseball card. Please like, comment, subscribe on this video for an opportunity to win Padres Hot Tub live group therapy later this week. We'll check you then.